morning, everyone. Roy Tabora here on the beautiful North Shore of Oahu, my studio. We're about ready to start session 8, and today we have Mary Jean
Aloha.
keeping us company, and as usual, the lovely Ann Wood producing everything. You know her, you love her, you can't get enough of her. Say hi, Ann.
Good morning, everybody.
All right, so anyway, good morning, or as we say in Hawaii, how's it? Today, what I plan on doing is detailing out the mountains, okay? The last session, I filled in the rest of the canvas that was not underpainted so that I can have the whole painting up to that stage done, right? So now that everything is set up the way I was hoping it would be, it'll be much easier, and you can do it with much more confidence. Whatever you're going to do should go well with what you have set up for yourself, okay? And that doesn't mean you can't make any adjustments, because you can make any adjustments anytime, all right? Some adjustments are easy if you catch them early. Some adjustments may be difficult if you missed it, and you're going to have to do it later on, okay? But none of that stuff is unusual, all right? I just want to always stress to you guys that there's a lot of missteps, errors, mistakes, whatever you want to call them, in the beginning. Mainly that's due to the fact that you haven't been doing this for a long time, okay? So don't freak out about that kind of stuff, because that's normal, all right? But also what I'm doing is anytime I'm thinking that, you know what, whatever I thought to do is not working out the way I would hope it would, then I'm going to change it. I'll make sure to let you guys know, so that you can also see that during the painting process, that's a normal thing to happen, right? You're going to try and do something, and in your head you have this vision, right? And then when you put it on there, you go, you know what? That's not as pretty as I thought it would be. And then you're going to make an adjustment, right? And that would be correct. You will make an adjustment to make it fit better, right? So, and I've told you guys this before. The painting process is basically just a series of adjustments, okay? Sometimes you'll get it on the first attempt. Most times you won't. Okay, but that's okay, right? Every time you're making an adjustment to make things more correct, you are upping your skill level, right? Because to be able to adjust to make things more correct requires that you, first of all, see that it's incorrect, okay? And then every attempt that you make, let me just tell you guys this, every attempt that you make, whether it solves the immediate problem or not, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Let me just tell you real quick, there was a time when I really didn't know a whole lot about what I was doing. All I had was the desire, okay? And I would mix what I thought was the color that I needed, and I would get it wrong, right? So I would just cover my palette with all of these mixtures, trying out different colors to arrive at the color I was looking for, and I would fail every time. I would fail, right? And I would scrape it all off because I run out of room, and then start again, and I'd fail again and start scraping them off again. And so you just repeat that as many times as you like in your head, and you'll probably be very accurate. And I thought, it was very disappointing, right? And it's frustrating and all of those things. And I thought, I didn't know it was going to be this hard or this difficult or this challenging, right? And so I labeled those a mistake, and they were for what I needed at the time. But the good news is, fast forward years later, I would fix something that was the painting that was, they dropped it or whatever, it got scratched or whatnot, and so they sent it back to me to have it repaired, right? And I would look at it and I would guess as to what color that is, and I surprised myself because I would, pick 2 or 3 colors, mix them up, and I would come really, 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 really close to what I wanted, and maybe make 1 or 2 adjustments. Okay, and then I wonder, well, how did I guess so close to being accurate, right? And I thought about that for a while, and then one day it dawned on me that it was all those times that I was trying to get it right and I couldn't, and I thought those were wasted efforts, And as it turned out, they weren't, right? All those things that I labeled that were failures were kept on file, right? Somehow, in my own filing system in my head, I kept all of those mistakes, but in my head, after that moment, they weren't mistakes anymore. They're just part of what I know. And so the good news is, don't be afraid to pile up a bunch of those mistakes, because you are actually upping your skill set of color mixtures and color mixing. And even though you may not have gotten the one that you wanted at the moment, all of those will come in handy later, I promise. Okay, so don't be frustrated. Don't be, at least not too frustrated, not too disappointed. Just keep on keeping on. Okay, and in the end, all of that stuff will come in handy. Okay, all right. So I did this mid-ground landmass over here, and I'm going to leave that alone for a little while. I'm going to do the next one over, right, the one behind it, and let's see how that will affect this. Okay, basically everything you see is affected by what's next to it. Okay, and that's always going to be true. All right, so try not to prejudge too quickly until such time that you have set up something that will give you a fair assessment. Okay, so again, I'm gonna go with the indigo and the white. I choose that to be the dark blue that I like to use. What I'm careful not to do is to make anything here too bright, because you got to remember it's a night scene, right? And nothing is bright as like daytime light at night, right? And you know this, but you got to remind yourself that so you don't get carried away. Okay. It's better to not have made it light enough or bright enough and then make an adjustment towards getting it lighter the way it needs to be, rather than having made it too bright and then now you got to tone it down. That's a lot more work. And it's also more frustrating too. So you don't want to have that. Okay. So far I've used indigo, and I've used the chromium oxide green and white. Those are the only 3 colors that I've used so far. All right, and the way I've mixed them on my palette is they're all like kind of sort of right next to each other, right? So that I can judge the relationship of what I'm mixing to each other, and that will hopefully give me a good guide as to where I need to be. Okay, let's see where this guy's at. Okay, what I've mixed is something a little bit brighter and lighter than what I have here. Okay, that's not a bad thing at all. And in fact, I will set this guy up a little bit more, even though I said I would work on this. Let me just do this real quick, and it will make the process of doing the next one over a little bit better because I can play off of this color I'm using now, right? And as usual, if you're tuning in, if you got any questions, fire away.
Well, Trish is on this morning.
Trish, good morning.
Marty Thompson.
Marty, yeah.
Marty Thompson.
Good morning, Marty.
Maria Lissa.
Oh.
Do you know Maria Lemur Lissa?
Not sure.
Superfan, Linda Hampton. Good morning.
Good morning, Linda.
Did we already say Christy? Christy Olson's on this morning.
Hey, Christy, aloha. This is your painting coming together. Okay, let's work on this guy here. Okay, I'm using a number 2 brush, kind of like an 1/8 of an inch wide, round, because I want to go ahead and simulate the leaves, right? And if I use a bigger brush, it's going to leave a big stroke, which is not believable. And at some point, I'm going to have to switch to a smaller brush anyway, but I would have changed the colors. So instead, I'm going to use the little brush right away. I'm going to imagine all the leaves that are being hit by the moonlight, and all the other areas will be the shadow. Okay? So that's the strategy behind what I'm doing now. Later on, when this is established, I will go back into it and define things a little bit better. But for right now, this is the stage where you're putting in your midtones, right? Remember, you don't want to cover the dark that you put on here, because those are your shadows. And if you cover that, then you will have gotten rid of your shadows, and that is not good, right? The shadow is a very important part of your painting, because it's the play between light and shadow that will give you the effects and the drama that you want to have. Okay? If you light everything up, for one thing, it's not going to be believable. All right, so that's not good. But done well, it can be pretty convincing of the kind of atmosphere that you are creating with your painting.
Okay, so we're getting requests for some zoom-ins. I'm gonna add another camera.
Okay.
Do you need mine?
Sure. Is it open? Yeah. If you want it back, let me know.
Zoom in on me or the painting?
The painting. Really sorry.
You can't say sorry and laugh at the same time, all right? It lessens the effect of the contrition.
That's like every time
And
Rick
you don't
gets
get
hurt.
to use contrition very often, do you?
Oh, no.
Well, you're Catholic, so you get to use that.
What?
Aren't you Catholic?
No. I mean, I was.
I like how you thought about it.
I'm a spiritual person.
You mean you like to drink spirits?
Yeah.
I'm Catholic, hello.
I'm more of a light candles, be zen,
Ah,
and positive vibes.
so basically you got excommunicated?
I quit.
I quit. I couldn't work
I
it into the
quit.
schedule.
Anywho, this book is quite interesting. How did you do?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's see. I gotta.
Okay, see it's starting to take shape now, right? And I purposely left some of the darks on there, like I told you I would, and those will act as the shadows. All right. Now, the odds of me making mistakes at this point is a lot less. Hang on for a second, folks. What's up?
I'm
You
gonna
need
do
something?
a raise. I'm raising up.
Which one?
This other camera so that we can get.
This one?
Yeah.
What's got holes in there? Huh?
I think I'm gonna put something flat on top of it.
Yeah, you're
Don't
gonna
worry,
have,
you
you're
can
gonna
do
have
this.
to.
You do what you're really good at.
How about a book?
I'm
It's
good at
gotta be
directing.
I know.
I'm good at, like, don't do that. It's gonna fall.
It's a bad idea.
I've seen a lot of bad ideas. That's
How you know?
one of them.
Ooh, that's gonna be good.
Okay, so basically what I did was I tried to get this dark, which was, I knew from what we did last time that it was based off of indigo and a little bit of white, yeah, to gray it out a little bit. So from there, I know that the light areas that I'm gonna put on there will be a derivative of that. I'll take a little bit of that, add some, lighten it up, add some green to it, and that will act as the bright parts that are getting hit by the moonlight. So already I'm ensuring that it's not going to be that bright because it came off of the dark, right? So that should make your life a lot easier. You don't have to guess wildly, right? Just remember, what you used for your darks, and then play off of that the next time, right? You don't have to take wild stabs of what color this, that, and the other was. Just remember that these are your darks. So start there. Okay. Go. Okay, and we will continue to do that everywhere that the moonlight is hitting it. And when your edges start to kind of get fuzzy, kind of nondescript, that's good, right? That's because it's a moonlight, right? And things do get fuzzy, things blend, and now there's a general difference. But things don't need to be super.
It's okay.
It's just a third
I think
cam-
it's.
It's a third camera malfunction, and that would be my third camera. But that's okay.
As long as it's not somebody's teeth.
It's got a screen protector on it, and I know we're good.
It's okay.
Oh, is that your phone?
I'm just kind of having a small time heart attack over here.
It's okay.
I'm focusing on the art.
Raleigh should have it's missing a thing that makes it,
What?
it's missing like a carriage that makes it thick to have it on the skinnier part of the.
Carriage?
It's like a inner tube that goes inside of this. When you're on a skinny part of the tripod, it's like an expander. I'm working on an angle.
Okay. There you go. So you can tell that the greens here are brighter than these, yeah? That the greens here have more life to them, right? And these guys here are a lot grayer, right? So that helps convince the viewer that not only is it behind this, that it's a little bit further away. So it's little effects and little tricks like that. The more you use it, the better you'll get at it. And like I said, anytime you're doing artwork that shows depth, try to get as many things in your favor as you can, right? Because those are really, really fun effects to have. and it'll make your painting a lot more convincing. The one thing that is very difficult for artists to do that paint images such as these is to make sure that the viewer is not struggling with the image that you painted, right? If you did it right, it actually will it will transcend the painting itself, right? They'll just get into the emotional part of that painting, whatever it is you were trying to express, rather than mentally debate you if you did things correctly, right? If they're doing that, then maybe you could do a little bit better on the art, yeah. If they find it hard to believe that what you did was correct, then yeah, you got some adjustments to make, because you don't want that. They should just be able to enjoy the work that you did, right? Getting to the part that's getting kind of misty, so it's going to be interesting, because it shouldn't be as bright as the areas that are not being affected by the mist, right? The mist kind of obscures things a little bit, the sharpness, right? Okay, and I kind of just go ahead and work it into the misty part right here, and at some point the value and the chroma are about the same, even though it's a different hue or different color. So as this green kind of fades out, as I go back down towards the misty area, that's a good thing. So it's not, the contrast is not as sharp, yeah? That's a favorable thing. Every once in a while, it'll stand out through the mist. That's nice as well. Okay.
So Leland Nickel, no, what did I see? Leland?
Castro, yeah.
Yeah, from Arizona's on. So
Hey, Leland.
he said it's hot. Hot in Arizona.
Oh yeah, well, it's Arizona. Okay.
Yeah, I've got you zoomed in really close to kind of see what you're doing.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is hard to see though, because the dark on the dark,
The dark on the dark.
like the dark green on the dark blue,
Uh,
in the camera angle makes it.
I guess you got to zoom in really close
Yeah.
to see the difference, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe if it's what, handheld.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Yeah, that's the thing about the moonlight, is that there are a lot of things that are subtle, right? And so it's the skill set that you have to make that work for you. It's really worth it to practice. Just keep on practicing. a lot of the color changes are really subtle, right? And you can always add drama to it later on after you've got it all set up. But in the meantime, you know, put in your medium tones. Right now I'm going into the misty area, right? But I don't want to read flat, even though it's not wrong that it's kind of flat, but the fact that it's not nature and it's a painting, the viewer might reject that, right? So you want to avoid that. Like I said, you don't want the viewer struggling with what you did, right? If you can convince them that what they're seeing is accurate, that would be better. Okay, so what I did was I lightened my mixture a little bit, just a tad, just a little bit of white that I added to it, because I don't want the shift to be drastic. So I'm careful. Again, my example to you guys was kind of like, you know what, it needs some salt, right? Hey, just take it easy on the salt, right? You can add more, right? But you don't want to overdo it. So that's what I'm doing, making little adjustments here and there. And even though you're seeing it through mist, it's still getting hit by the moonlight. Okay.
So those are just kind of random strokes here and there with the lighter color to
Yeah, well,
mist it up.
what I'm trying to do, again, it's different when you actually have a reference material that you're looking at and you're trying to copy what you're seeing. The way I'm doing it is I don't have a picture reference, I'm just imagining it, right? But you should know that in the beginning, I used a lot of reference material when I was first learning how to paint, because one of the better skills you should have is to be able to paint what you see. Very handy.
We've got a shout out from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Charles Rudisil.
Yeah, CR. How you doing, bro?
Stunning waves, building up as usual.
Building up as usual. He's an artist as well.
Oh, awesome. Seascape?
All kinds, including seascapes. He knew us from when we were at the Hilton the first time.
Oh, wow. Way back.
Way back. Things we don't want to admit.
I don't mind. I was younger then.
We all were. That's why we don't want to admit that.
I was 20-some years younger.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I look the same.
When I think of the old Hilton, or the first Hilton, or the original Hilton, all the different words, I think of Duke.
Oh, Duke wasn't even part of the original crew.
But he worked at the Hilton when I met him.
He did.
That was his spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he loved the Hilton. That was a good spot.
He was walkable. He walked to work.
Yeah.
We should change Tom's name to Duke. Every gallery needs a Duke.
I love Duke.
It's a good name.
He was a nice guy.
He was.
He really
All right, so this part here looks different than here, right? Well, okay, good. That part is in the mist somewhere. And so now we've got these two land masses here. This is closer to us, but it kind of blends in, right? So what I'll do now is I'll try and get some separation by going over this area again and making the edges and parts of it brighter as it's getting hit by the moonlight. And that should give me some separation, all right?
Okay.
That's the plan.
And then I'm going to move my camera angle a little bit. It's okay. It's all good.
trust the process.
Well, I can't get that sound out of my head. And if you're gonna make a loud noise, make sure my brush is off the canvas.
Oh, it would be so good, but I'm getting a little glare from something.
Okay, but already there's some separation. Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
What you did?
Yeah.
It's just a way better angle, yeah, to see.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So now there's more separation. Okay. You can add more to it later. Again, think of it like salt. Don't get crazy. And later on, when all the other parts are in there, you can make a judgment as to what needs more work. Hopefully, at that point, you haven't overdone anything that you gotta fix, right? I'm trying to avoid having to fix anything. So one way to do that is to take it easy and not go overboard with what I'm doing, knowing I can come back to it and make the adjustments later. All right. So I'm not losing anything. It's not as if I don't do it now, all is lost. That's not the way it is. So I'm trying to put random parts that can possibly be hit by moonlight. Again, don't overdo it because you don't want to lose your shadows, right? And a lot of the times I'm just hitting parts of it that was lit already, but I'm just amping up the light, okay? Because if I always put it on the dark areas, then eventually I'm going to lose all my dark areas, right? You don't want that. So you can see I'm barely hitting anything that's dark. It's already the ones that are light from the last time, and I'm just making them a little bit brighter. Key phrase is little bit. Okay, there you go. Now that I've done that, let's do, well, you know what? I will go ahead and do the same thing that I did here onto this one that I just did, right? So that I can showcase the areas that are being lit by the moonlight on this as well.
Dude, Trish likes my camera work now.
Uh-huh. Did we get the close-up that people wanted?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is the live shot. See how close it is?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So when is Trish returning to Hawaii?
As soon as she gets her second shot.
You have to it's still 2 weeks to get back into Canada. You get quarantined for 2 weeks before you can go back.
Okay.
That's why we don't have a lot of Canadian travelers right now.
Oh,
Their side is the quarantine side.
right.
When they return home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they can
I
travel.
believe it's 2 weeks
But they
in a
have to-
designated hotel. You
Right,
don't go
that's
home.
how
in quarantine.
Ireland was, and I think they're just lifting it now.
Oh yeah, Phil did that. He went to Texas for some kind of conference, I believe, and then
That stopped.
when he got home, he had to quarantine.
Oh, she said as soon as her broom is out of the shop, she'll fly over.
Use the vacuum; it's faster.
But she did ask, did you add some white to the dark green for those little spots of moonlight?
Yes, I added a little bit of white. So value-wise, it'll stand out because it's lighter, yeah, against something that is dark. But you don't want too much of that because you don't want it too bright. Keeping in mind, it's a moonlight where nothing is bright, right? Except the moon. Okay, so there we go. We got that going on. And we'll do some more here. Again, I got the tiny, that's not real tiny, but it's a smaller brush so that I'm actually painting a leaf or clusters of leaves.
So I have a question
Okay.
that I have not asked before,
Okay.
but with this close-up, it makes me think about it.
Uh-oh.
When you hold a pencil,
Ah.
you hold it really close to the edge when you're writing to the
Lead.
yeah,
The tip.
to the lead, right?
Okay.
But when you hold a paintbrush,
Mm.
an unexperienced painter like myself would hold it really close because that's what's comfortable. How long did it take you to feel good holding it back so far
Oh, right
and
away.
control it?
Right away. Oh,
just
yeah.
natural.
Well, that's the way I was taught. So one thing I learned is not to argue with the teacher.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if the teacher is my uncle, and I know
Right.
he's not going to teach me the wrong thing.
Right.
Right? So as quickly as you can get used to the right thing, even if it's awkward, do that. And the reason you're doing that is, for the most part, a lot of artists will paint from a distance, right? And then so if you're holding it like this, then your arm will be stretched out, right? If you're holding it really, really close. But if you hold it at the opposite end, closer to that, then that distance also helps cover the distance that you are away from the canvas itself.
So there's a little technical measurement to go with how long these brushes, because they all kind of seem that same length,
Well,
right?
yeah, there's two types. Yeah, there's short handle, long handle. And again, the long handles are more old school, all right? And I'm a part of that, right? Now, I've seen a lot of awesome artists that use short handle. My main thing is that, hey, whatever works, right? So I'm not a huge stickler on the rules because of the rule. There's got to be a reason why you're doing what you're doing. And if you can reason out that, hey, I'm not following that rule and it's working, great, do that. Because that's the end thing you want, right?
Right.
Is the thing to work, to get the result that you want. But that's a good question. Okay, and now what we'll do is we'll get some separation over here as well. This part here is kind of nice, that I'm lightening up this area here, because it kind of defines the edge of this landmass here as well. That's going to be in the dark, where I don't show where the moonlight is not reaching it, right? So, but by stopping right where I did, it defines this edge, right? And so that's a nice little detail. There we go. Whoops. All right. So let's say that's enough for now. Let's do this mountain over here.
Okay, the next next mountain show me where you're going again?
This mountain right here.
Okay, and then is that gonna have the indigo, the white, and the green mixture again?
Yes.
Staying with the mixture?
Yeah, I might vary the green a little bit.
Okay.
Just to not be too monochromatic.
Okay.
Okay. But it'll be very little. Again, the changes should be subtle. And as I'm going back, I'm going to choose a green, which we all know is blue and yellow, right? I'm going to choose greens that are favoring the blue more than the yellow, okay? Because the yellow is a warm color. And again, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that cool colors tend to recede. They go back. So I'm going to use a green that favors the cool color of blue, right? So it'll be a bluish green as I go further back. And maybe by the time I get to the farthest mountain, it'll be predominantly bluish, the green that I'm going to put on there, if it's even green at all, right? So I won't make that decision now. I'll just do this mountain right there, and I'm gonna see about using a different green, okay? But first, more Jawa. Hey, Ann, can I move the
Yeah, go ahead and move it,
Yeah?
and
Okay.
then I'll adjust on my own.
All right, just a little bit. Okay.
Oh yeah, that looks good. That's a great angle, actually.
All right. All right. So this is a bigger area than this. Okay. So knowing that, I'm gonna prepare something that's a bigger mixture, right? So that I don't have to keep remixing.
Are you changing the brush?
Yeah, just making the brush bigger. Most people use a palette knife to do the mix. Nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean, are you changing to a larger brush because you're working on a larger mountain?
Yeah. I knew what you meant. I answered it.
Oh, sorry.
But I wanted to add that some people don't like to mix with a brush.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
They use a palette knife to mix, which is, again, whatever works for you, do that.
So what colors were you using here? With the greens?
So far, all I've used is the indigo and the white, right? That's like our base. And then I added some chromium oxide green, all right, which is, it's a yellowish green, so it's kind of a warmer green. Because I'm doing areas that are up close, so I want the warmth of that to help me communicate that it's up close. Of course, the composition is already communicating that, because anything that's layered the way it is, you know, your brain will already tell you this is closest to you, and this one is further back, and so on and so forth. But you can help that along. As many things, many factors that give an effect that you can use for your purposes, do it, right? Help the thing out a little bit, right? Because if you, this landmass is obviously closer to you than the one right behind it, right? But it didn't have to have been done this way. If I made this guy brighter, right? And this one not so bright, it really is not going to compromise the depth, but it will, the high chroma will grab attention, right? That's what it does. So it'll mean that the focus of the painting is more here than here. But in this case, none of these are the main focal point. It's this, right? And so we're not concerned about that. What we want to do is promote the idea that you got all these mountains that are receding, right? All the way to the horizon area, right? So that's all that matters for right now. The composition of it already communicates to you what is closer to you and what is not as close and what is further back, etc., etc. So that part is fine. Okay, so now we will do the this mountain right here. Okay, that looks right. Maybe we can make it a little bit darker. Yeah, that's better. It's hardly noticeable, you guys. I mean, it's hardly noticeable here where I am. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing because we can add on to that, all right? But if we go overboard and it's too bright right away, then you're gonna have to adjust, make some corrections, and that is one of my least favorite activities. Actually, it shouldn't even be called a favorite. Okay. And I am putting in the side of the mountain that is not getting hit by direct moonlight, right? Even though the light of the moon is reflected as well. So, but I am making sure that this landmass is not so flat looking, right? So I'm putting in textures. I don't know if you can see that, Ann.
I'm trying to get in there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, maybe that was a little bit better.
Okay, the fact that it's subtle, that's a good thing. All right, you don't want this major shift in value or chroma, right? You don't want it bright at all. You want it, and again, you can adjust it later if you think, you know what, I want it to be a little bit brighter than that. Well, you can do that. You can do that later. You can add that on, right? Again, you're trying to avoid overdoing it and then making corrections. That's not fun. And by adding all of these textures that I'm doing, it is eliminating some of the darks. It appears that way, but they're actually there. My strokes are not all connected, they're spaced out. So that what you're seeing is a combination of this light green and the dark that I'm leaving behind, and they're positioned not right next to each other, so they are being seen together, right? There you go. Well, I like the way this is turning out. Again, there was a drastic change in value from light to dark, but by adding what I'm adding, I'm getting them a little bit closer. But then again, I also know that I haven't addressed this mountain further back, right? So I'm not worried about that, even though I'm kind of losing the line between these two. That's okay. I know that I will work on this later on, and I can bring back the separation between them. All that I care about right now is to make this mountain not look so flat. Okay. And you just got to remember there's light bouncing all around. That's how come the back of this mountain is getting some kind of light. And you can appreciate the textures of the mountain. And there you go. Looking very nicely, I may say so myself. Oh, maybe I forgot to mention, before I painted on this for today's session, we had a couple of days since the last one, right? The last one was what, Friday, right? Mm-hmm. And so over the weekend, as it was drying, the paint was losing its sheen, right? The shiny part of it, as when you're painting it, it's shiny, right? But as it's drying, that goes away. That's normal, right? The only problem with that is you can't really assess what color it is exactly because it gets kind of matted, right? So using the retouch varnish brings everything back to life as if it was freshly painted, which is what you want. That way you can read the color correctly and you can put the next layer on having read the thing accurately, right? What you don't want is putting in all that work and you thought it was this type of green that was this dark or the chroma was this, and it's not, right? Because you did not read it accurately. And the reason you didn't read it accurately is because you did not bring it back to its fresh looking state, right? So the retouch varnish is good. It has to be dry when you at least dry to the touch when you put that on, okay? But it's very handy. In fact, I don't work on a painting until after it's been hit with that retouch varnish, because I already know that I might potentially be putting in a lot of work that will be erroneous because I couldn't really read the color correctly. Okay. So also you should know that, you know, as you're doing this, okay, you're obviously depositing paint, and so obviously you're losing paint on your brush, right? So that's good because in some parts the stroke will leave a subtle green because it's not as loaded as when it first started, right? The brush had already deposited most of its paint in the initial strokes. So that's a good thing. That's a good variety of strokes. Like when it's when the brush is newly loaded with paint, you know, the strokes are brighter, yeah, because the paint is deposited and it's pure. It's really loaded with paint, so the strokes are more solid. And again, as you deposit the paint, it lessens the load on the brush, and it will render a different looking stroke. Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay. So I got a couple questions
Okay.
here. Let's see here. Okay, this is from Trish.
Okay.
Don't the daubs of colored paint running alongside of your palette dry out? Okay. She wants to know about all the paint. Doesn't it dry out?
Yes, it does dry out. So, as they all will, right? The dark colors dry faster.
Oh, why is that?
I'm not sure. I guess because of the nature of the pigment that's in there.
Oh.
Yeah, they will form a skin sooner than the other colors.
So sometimes you poke it, right, to get the paint from underneath?
I peel it, yeah. I peel it back.
Peel it. Until there's no more to get out, yeah?
Well, at some point, even when you peel back the skin, the paint underneath is kind of hard, and so I don't want that either. So at some point, you know, it kind of has a shelf life, right? At some point, it's unusable, and the more you try to use it, the more difficult it is. It'll throw off your rhythm, this, that, and the other, and that's when I basically scrape it off and start over.
Charles asks, does your wife Christine ever have constructive critiques of your work, and do you listen?
Yes.
Is that a yes and yes?
All the time, and not just with my paintings. and it's good. It's good, right? All of that is good. I look forward to hearing other people's points of views.
Marty Thompson wants to know if you're working wet into wet.
Right now?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. And what does that mean exactly, that wet on wet?
It means like, when I put the darks on the mountain, that day that I did that, it's still wet, right? That means if I started doing what I'm doing now while the thing was still wet. So that's wet paint on wet paint.
Got it.
Okay. I could do that. Okay. I could do that. And that's another way. That's a legitimate way to do it. But since I opted to do the sky, the thing dried up. So now.
Okay, wait, I have a question.
Okay.
So if you were working wet on wet, that would mean you were working on this piece for like 3, 4, 5 hours in a row. Long session.
Long sessions, yes.
But because this is a Facebook Live 1 hour, 2 hour session, and they're 24 to 48 hours apart, it dries.
Correct.
So then you have to spray on the varnish.
The retouch varnish.
The retouch varnish to bring it back up to
Fresh.
a wet, fresh look.
Correct.
To start again. I was listening.
I know. Now, more important, you were understanding.
Yeah, no, I'm getting it.
So, Linda wants to know, is the retouch varnish different from regular varnish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And why?
Well, regardless of what it is that they describe in the can, all right, the fact that something is formulated to be used for that purpose, that's good enough for me. All right. So, and the can will say retouch. Okay, I'll show you. I'll go get the can.
Okay. Roy has left the building.
And has returned. All right. Yeah, we do things kind of casual here. So, anyway, this is what I use. Can you see
Let me
that?
zoom in. Okay, put it down a little lower. Yep. Up. 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 Yep. Stop right there.
All right.
Grumbacher.
And it says retouch right there. Retouch. Okay.
And what does that mean? The retouch?
That's when things get matted when it's drying and you want to bring it back to a fresh look. This is what you use.
Okay.
Right? But the painting has to be dry. Right? Dry to the touch.
Check.
Right? Okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Should we show a picture of the can?
Oh, we did.
Oh. Because I did go to the restroom and, oh, there it is. Look, I can see he's holding it.
Okay.
Oh, would you say the retouch varnish gives it some depth too?
No, it just all it does is it brings the paint to a fresh state, a fresh look. So it takes away the matte finish that it gets imparted on it as it's drying. Right? When something is drying and it's all matted, you can't tell what kind of green it is because it has a gray look to it, right? And you know it's not that, right? But basically, it's to get an accurate read on the painting. That's what it's for. Okay, looking good, looking good. Okay. Also, by making all of these,
It's all good. I
no,
should get
it's
a
not.
job.
It's not all good.
I need a different job.
It's making this area lighter so that the contrast in value between what I've done so far gets further emphasized, right? Again, it's just light against dark.
Will it hold better if the case is on?
No, one of the things is where your buttons are located to shut it on and off. When I want to adjust it, it hits the button and then shuts that off. And so that is, I'm trying to get an angle where I can see better the mountain range that he's doing.
Okay, so what we're basically doing is a lot more of what I did here earlier, but I'm trying to decide where I'm going to have greens and where I might have some browns, some areas of the mountain that is not covered with greenery, right? So I'm going to do the parts that are that have some greenery in there, skip the ones that I think will not have them, and then I can fill those areas in later. Okay. Come together nicely. Okay, just random areas, not covering all the shadows. You don't want to do that. Be mindful of that. Don't get carried away.
Tommy Acosta's on.
Hey Tommy, how are you? Welcome.
He says he's so grateful that you're sharing your talent with him.
My pleasure.
Did the moon get more yellow somewhere along the line? This is from Jim Swikert.
Swikert? Yeah, I may have. I don't know that it got yellower as much as I kind of cleaned it up a little bit, you know. So I used the exact same colors, but with changed the proportion a little bit so that it's not so dirty looking. So that added to the brightness of it.
Oh, let's see. Karen Halbert's on. Good morning, Karen.
Morning.
What color are you applying now? She just got in late.
Okay, the three colors that I've been using all along in different proportions are indigo, the white, and the chromium oxide green.
Chromium
Yeah.
Oxide green.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't go to
And
school. to
blue
learn to
and
spell
yellow
painting.
make green? No.
Yes.
Blue and yellow make green.
Yeah. Again, I'm leaving some of the darks to act as the shadow. And as the paintbrush is being used and depositing the color that's on there, it gives a softer effect on the stroke because it's not so loaded with paint. And that's a good thing. Anything that you can make really, really soft looking is good, right? It's a night scene. You gotta always remind yourself it's a night scene. Don't go crazy with brightness. That's the salt part that you can always add more later. Okay, now this part here is kind of severe with the mist, yeah? So what I'm gonna try and do is soften that a little bit. Okay, by continuing with the same color. Can I move the canvas up a little bit?
Yeah, I'm gonna let me go to this one, and we're gonna go handheld for a minute. Can you check out this the picture and you tell me what I'm seeing? What are we gonna get, Roy? The mist?
I'm gonna work on this area here. So I wanted to elevate the canvas up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and adjust,
Okay.
and then I'll make some adjustments.
Right there. Right there.
That's perfect.
It's kind of cool that your canvas is so shiny that you can see the reflection of your brush.
Yes.
Now that's all I'm seeing now. Thank you. Okay, so the division of the mist and the part that's not misted is softer, yeah. But I'm still not satisfied entirely with how this is set up, so I'm going to make some adjustments.
What's not kosher over here that you're doing?
The mist, it looks kind of flat.
Okay.
And it's, it is further away than this guy here, right? So I want to preserve some of the mist, but I'm going to switch to a lighter color so you can see the mountain through the mist. Right now it's really flat, and the value of the green that I'm using is the same as the mist, so it's not having an effect, right? It's a different color, but that's all that's different. The value of it is the same. It's kind of I'm using kind of grayish green, and this is kind of a grayish blue, and the gray part of those two colors it's contributing to the whole effect being kind of sort of the same, even though they're different colors. The gray value is the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit lighter with what I'm doing now, so that it'll give the effect that you're seeing the mountain through mist. Ooh.
Okay, I get that, and I can actually see it in the camera.
Could you?
Yeah, I can
Oh.
see.
But I haven't started yet.
There's a little bit of that mountain through the mist happening.
Yes, there is.
It's a little bit there. I see
Not
it.
too blurry.
Okay.
That's the mysteriousness portion. It's mysterious.
Mist, yeah.
The mist is mysterious
It is.
because it only happens for a second as the wave is coming up to crash.
Right.
It's going to end as soon as that wave crashes over,
And,
and the next set comes
okay. Well, I actually didn't think it that far, but okay.
because this is a still moment, captured in time.
Did you have breakfast?
I did.
Oh.
Do you want to know what I had?
Okay. Not really.
It's not a date. That's what you ask your boyfriend when you run out of things to say. So what'd you have for breakfast? Okay, we're gonna make an adjustment and do the camera a little closer.
Okay, it's a little lighter. Alright, so it'll give the illusion that you're still seeing the mountain through the mist.
We need it to be. I disturb you so much, don't I?
Well, he's not used to painting with two hooligans around it.
Just
Okay.
making all kinds of clamor.
Okay, here's a question from Tommy Acosta.
Okay, Tommy, fire
Will
away.
Roy be coming to
Huh?
any galleries in Florida in the near future?
Do
I
what?
watched him paint in St. Augustine years ago and would love to see him again.
Oh. Do we have an answer for that?
Are we going to Florida?
Oh, not in the immediate future, but there is potential.
Oh.
There is potential, but I don't have anything scheduled right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there's your answer, Tommy Acosta. But when we come to Florida, you'll be the third to know.
Actually, the fourth.
Gotta
It's
clear
us
it.
three first.
It's us. Well, we might be on the same email. So we might all find out together. I want to go to Florida. Count me in.
It was fun. We had a great trip.
Yes, we did.
It was really great. We loved Key West. There's
I wanna
so
get
much to
I want to see
do.
those keys.
Strolling around and checking out the old town. Great food.
Mm.
All the consultants were great. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to another area near Daytona.
We did?
Yeah, that's a little suburb
yeah,
of
yeah,
Daytona.
yeah.
Ormond Beach.
Yes, yes.
That's a sweet little gallery there. That's where we met,
Is this the Coke can reference?
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah, it seems like it doesn't have real soda in it. Something's fishy with this thing.
Roy doesn't drink Coke, so it's a secret.
Hey,
Okay, actually, this was really a Coke can. Well, this is cool.
all you busybodies,
Okay,
wait
so-
until the camera's not rolling. Oh, you're just opening stuff up.
I can't. I'm snooping around. It's not good. Keep your hands to yourself. Okay, so that was a really good question about the brush,
Right.
the brush and the length.
Yeah.
Painting back
But
here.
but your hand isn't on a thing. We were
Right, but
painting,
if it was
so
on here, you'd be back here.
I
We're
couldn't
just
control
practicing.
it.
We're air painting.
Put those back. That's expensive.
This one could be used
Actually,
for-
they're not
We're
expensive.
only allowed in our own
Eyeliner.
area.
This is so little. It's an eyeliner pen.
You guys are funny.
Eyeliner brush. Let's see. They can make these makeup brushes.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ones, different sizes. Wow.
That's correct. Okay, so we're Okay, so now I want to make this guy here a little bit lighter, just a little bit lighter.
Which area?
Same area,
Okay.
but
The mist.
again, there's still more mist. Yeah,
He's in the mist.
it's too misty.
Okay. That was a nice question.
Oh, who is the camera lady?
Uh oh, there's no lady.
Ann Wood.
That's Ann Wood. There's no lady.
TaboraGallery.com. You can write her an email.
Yeah. All the hate mail.
Don't give out my personal information.
His question isn't as novice as my camera abilities.
Who?
Charles, when he says, very novice question, who's the camera lady? Oh, no, Trish, we are not coming to Canada anytime soon. That's a hard pass.
Never say never.
Unless it's ski season.
What?
But Roy can't ski because he might injure his hand.
Roy and Mary Jean's not skiing either because I don't want to do that.
Oh, it's so fun.
No. Hard pass on the skiing. But the visiting to Canada and an art gallery, possibly yes.
The camera person has a lot of Roy Tabora's head in it, but this
Well,
is.
he keeps moving.
I'm on the angle that's getting us as close to from behind his shoulder as possible. So, you know, it would be distracting if I was zooming in and out to a different shot all the time. But I'm trying to get an angle where you can really see what he's doing with the mist. Because, you know, the light in the studio, too, it casts some glaring spots depending where my angle of the camera is, too. So I'm trying to do a good zoom in if I can. But that zooms everything. That gets in the camera's way.
It's okay. They're getting an up-close personal look at Roy's face.
But if you want to see the other episodes, go on our YouTube channel.
There
We've
you
got
go.
7 episodes uploaded. It's called Tabora Gallery Waikiki, and it
We're
shows.
not going to tell you which episode the love scene is at.
That's X'd out.
All right, you gotta just watch them all.
The unedited blooper reel comes at the end.
Oh,
after
yeah.
the painting is
That's when the
titled.
Don't give it away.
And off to
There's a
its.
car chase and a love scene, and see if you can tell the difference.
And the cameraman was blindfolded during those scenes, so who knows what we caught.
No, don't put your fantasies into things.
No animals were harmed in this video.
Not on
I can
purpose,
attest to
anyway.
that. Oh.
Not on purpose.
Well, it's
So-
only 10 a.m. here in beautiful Hawaii and probably 100 degrees outside already.
No.
Okay, fine, 98.
No.
81.
84, like it is every day. If we get near 100, it's breaking news.
That's true. It is. It's a beautiful day, though.
It's awesome.
We don't have any weather. We don't have a severe weather.
Summer has started. It only took us an hour. This morning we left at a different time, so it took about an hour and 10 minutes to get up to Roy's studio in the beautiful North Shore.
But when
It
you're
was a
chatting
nice drive.
away, it seems like it goes by so fast.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Lickety split. Plus, we get to drive through all the beautiful pineapple fields, and you see the ocean in the distance. It's like a dream come true, driving this
Try going
direction.
down the hill and making a right. Then your real dreams come true.
Oh yeah.
When you get to drive through. What's this high school that your kid went to?
Kahuku?
Kahuku. Then you get to Hau'ula and Punaluu, and then you come around Kualoa Ranch and you see the Chinaman's hat. I don't care where I am, what I'm doing. When I see that hat, I get excited.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a cool
Racist name.
visual.
It's
It
a
does have
hat.
a real Hawaiian name, and I should know that, but I don't. But it's just a very cool scenic spot to come around and see
It's
the
awesome.
see the Chinaman's hat right there. spot on in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go around the bay and it gets smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
it's like most people come here and want to see Diamond Head, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But that hat over there by the cool little ramp is pretty cool. Okay, so what were we gonna say? We're getting close to an hour and a half here.
Is that all we're doing?
1:20? No, we can
Oh, okay. I
go.
didn't know how long it was. Our session was.
No. Well, we might take a short break in
Yes.
10 minutes or so and let the fingers relax, and we'll get Roy back on.
Yep. Anyway, see, it's a little bit better now with the greens coming through.
Yeah, I have a nice zoom in of what
Yeah.
you're doing in there. Yeah.
Are you mist satisfied? Wow,
Excuse me.
Mary Jean, you're making Roy's head take up the whole camera.
Excuse me. Am I in your way?
I just wanted to see it. I can't look at it on my phone.
See, cameramen cannot control the actors.
Out of control.
But we can really see your hair. It's awesome colors. I need to raise Roy's palette so he doesn't have to lean over. He can just dab.
Maybe he needs one of those little cardboard holder things.
What?
Oh, and a
Like
mustache
plastic.
with the curl
What
on
is
the
that?
end.
The palette, a wooden palette.
I gotta have a cake with that.
A cape and a palette.
Oh, Caleb's on. Good morning, Caleb.
Caleb.
Is that Caleb Hatchett?
Yes, I think.
Caleb and his wife Laura.
Look at you.
They just recently bought something, and
From
the name is escaping me. What they bought? Darn.
I think they bought. What did they buy? One of those 20 by 60s.
Oh. Well, then they either bought 20. They either bought Symphony of the
No.
Sea or in the beginning.
No. What was that? It was another one. I'm blanking on it.
Nocturnal Deep.
It was the other one. What's the other one? I think it's.
Passionate Sea.
Yeah, I think it is the Passionate Sea, or not, or it could be Nocturnal Deep.
Oh yeah, you can really see the greens. It looks great. I'm zoomed in so much. I love it.
That's a lot of zooming in.
It's
You're doing
a
okay.
zooming in.
All right, so I'm gonna. Can I lower the canvas some, a little bit?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Slowly.
Jeez. You always got the hecklers. You know, it's like,
I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
Heckling and yeah, I don't. Is it?
It is. For a trained professional such as myself,
Exactly. Because
I encourage it.
it brings you back to your comedic days as a stand-up comedian on the tour bus.
Well, that wasn't my official title, but it was kind of like that. Yeah.
I wish I would have attended one of those luau's and been on your bus.
Oh,
I
gosh.
definitely remembered you.
I think so. I think so.
And then would have thought all these years later, he's not an artist. He's a comedian.
That's Cousin Angel.
He switched gears.
I did go to that luau when I came here in
Jermaine's?
college. Hmm.
You did?
Oh, I went
sure
so
did.
many
What year was
times.
this?
That would have been, let's see, 85, maybe 87.
Oh, I was out of there already.
87.
I was out in 82.
Oh,
Oh, then yeah, no way would I have caught the act. In '82, I was graduating high school.
I think I
never
was in,
probably even heard of Hawaii.
I was in 9th grade. 82. I was just a kid.
Yeah, I was there from 77 to 82. And then 82 was when I did the zoo fence, right? I had to quit the last job I had. Take the plunge. Okay.
How many nights a week did you work at your meetings?
It's close to 5. 5 to 7. Because I really didn't want a day off because working there was like a day off.
Really?
Well,
Sure,
you
fun.
went to a luau every night
Got fed.
and paid.
Yeah, so
got
you're seeing the
fed,
show.
Got paid.
Drink
Could have a drink.
as many as you like.
Did you have to go up on the stage and do the dance?
No.
They didn't have that then?
They did.
Okay.
They did.
How'd
But
you get out of that?
I did stage work.
Okay.
I was like the MC before the real MC.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Got yourself in there.
I rose up pretty quickly.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Once. Well, I did that to overcome shyness, right? That was the main goal. And then I realized it's like, you know what? Not only can I get good at this, I like it. And then they needed somebody to do the introductions to the activities that were happening and whatnot before the real MC of the show, of the Polynesian show, would do his or her thing. And so based on the fact I think that I had the fewest complaints, they picked me.
The other day when I went to Pictures Plus,
Uh-huh.
because it's in the Campbell Industrial Park,
Right.
I wanted to drive down to the end to see the Germain's luau.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta drive down the end of this road. I want to see it.
Did you?
No.
Oh.
I needed to get to my next destination, and I chose to get Costco gas instead of viewing the luau site.
Okay. It wasn't really much. I mean, it was a nice little secluded beach.
Yeah, with a lighthouse.
Yeah.
The beach is real rocky.
Yes.
It's been a while since I've been there, but for many
I'm
years.
sure it hasn't changed.
Many years, I took many visitors, and I
Really?
always did. Yeah, and I always did the drive out.
Oh, you didn't do the bus.
I did the bus a couple times with friends, so that I didn't have to drive. But then I started to wise up and think, oh, it's just as easy. It's easier to drive because you don't have to leave Waikiki at 4 in the afternoon. You can drive and leave at 5:30.
Right.
So I was like, for the hour and a half of sitting on a bus, I'll just drive us out.
Plus, if
If
you
you
live
have
here,
a good escort, it's awesome.
Oh, it is. No, I mean, I did that with, like I said, good few people.
But
did
I'm
that.
sure your escort wasn't good. Otherwise, you would remember
And
their
it's
name.
also, and it's also it adds to the expense of the luau. Where if you call and say, hi, I'm local, I live here, I want to bring a carload of people out, it's a lot less money.
Really?
Yes.
some of
Yes.
your other friends are on this morning.
Okay.
Mike
Mike.
Maggiano.
Hey, Mike. Welcome.
Caleb must have ordered a nocturnal deep recently. He
That's
said he
what it
can't
was.
wait for it to get
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that's what it was
it
from
was.
Paul.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that, and then we'll do a little bit more here.
Oh, Trisha's signing off. She has to go for a little bit.
Okay, Trish, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Okay, so basically I'm just going over certain areas that I want the greens to be at. Alright, and then this big area here I'm gonna switch to a brownish color.
I feel like that mountain in the very back
This one?
reminds me of
This one?
Yeah, of that Stairway to Heaven.
Because it's misty.
That Stairway to Heaven hike.
I see.
It just seems like that's how high and steep it would be.
Mm.
That's one I haven't done yet.
Yeah, me neither.
That's it.
It's in Kaneohe. I can
Top one.
sneak on it.
I think they opened it.
Huh?
I think they opened it back up.
Really? I would really like to explore that.
That's really dangerous.
Yeah, I'd want them to kind of modernize it a little bit. Make it like the elevator to heaven. Escalator to heaven.
My last steps to heaven is what it should be called. It's dangerous. Okay, let's see. I gotta get us a better angle. switch for a minute. I'm gonna switch my other camera. Sorry, everyone. And there's so much movement. I'm sure I annoy everybody.
Is it still on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just making a few adjustments. I'm gonna adjust my close-up camera. Yeah, that might be okay. Yeah, the best thing is to try to get up and over your arm.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I like it.
Okay.
Oh. It's funny though, it's like glass on glass. It's so hard to see
What?
that anything's getting added to it
Oh,
because
really?
the colors
You
are
can't,
so
you
close.
can't really see anything?
I'm trying to, it could just be that I'm blind.
Okay, that's not good for a camera person.
Oh, you're putting all that texture, yeah, into the mountains.
Yeah, so it's not flat looking. And again, everything is subtle, so it may be difficult to notice the differences, but on the close-up shot, you should be able to appreciate it. And then later on, that can be further enhanced. Like so.
Yeah, I feel like you can see texture in there. It's just the different colors creating the texture.
Yeah, and the strokes, right? Because they're short and they're kind of spaced a little bit, so you're seeing some of the dark area underneath are left untouched. So that helps that out a little bit.
Oh, Charles is out of here. He's got to go to work.
Okay, Charles, thanks for dropping in, keeping us company for a little bit. Appreciate it. Talk to you later. Aloha. Again, you're keeping your strokes short. and that further adds to the effect of textures. You're not trying to cover an area quickly. What you're trying to do is create the illusion of unevenness on the face of the mountain, right? So you're gonna have to leave some dark areas behind, and then right next to it would be some lighter areas, but avoid the long stroke, okay? Because that is kind of distracting, as very, very few things in nature are like that. Okay. Yes, they're very, very subtle. So just the knowing that you can hardly ever see it, that's actually a good guide, right? So that when you're doing something similar to this, if the effect that you're getting is that, oh man, it's hardly noticeable, you're on the right track. You know, it shouldn't be very, very, very visible. Okay, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush.
Ron Keller is on.
Hey, Ron.
He's from Florida.
Aloha.
It's kind of cool. What do you say when you live in Florida? You don't say howdy. Like in Texas, you could be like howdy. In Hawaii, you say aloha, hang loose, mahalo. What do you say in Florida? Hi, good morning.
I don't know.
What do they have?
Top of the morning.
What
Top
do
of the
they
day. I don't know.
say in Florida?
Okay, I can tell you what they say in Jersey.
They don't say it. They show it.
No cussing, please.
That's
Yo.
sign language.
That's all. Yo.
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 See, you might say that.
Yo.
Yeah.
Hey.
In the
Okay.
South, they say, "Hey, y'all."
Hey, y'all. Well, maybe Florida can get a hey, y'all. It's the South.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
It's South.
Of course it's south.
It's way
I
South.
know my maps. It's down below. In fact, there's none lower than that.
The most southern point in the United States. This was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Ka'u, Big Island.
South Point, Big Island.
Absolutely.
Right?
He knows his state.
That was the, no, but what did you call it?
Ka'u.
Okay, that's probably the Hawaiian word, but I said, but on the millionaire screen, the choice of the answers was South Point, Hawaii. And that was the answer.
Of course.
It was not Miami, as some people might think.
Well, or Key West.
Oh, actually, Key West. Sorry, Key West was the other option. It wasn't Miami. I think it was Key West, South Point, Hawaii, and then whatever the other two that maybe they tried to pick something in like Southern California and maybe like a point in Texas.
They're trying to trick you.
Well, of course, that's how the whole idea.
They can't like give you the right answer and then give you 3 bogus answers that are so ridiculous.
Point, Hawaii, Hawaiian Island. It's the most southern point of the United States.
Yep.
And I guess Key West would be second.
What?
Key West would probably be second.
Would it?
Yeah. It's pretty far down.
Okay, there you go. Getting some red dirt in there. I
That's
used cadmium red light. I added it onto the mix, and then of course by doing so, you kind of elevate the chroma of the mix, right? So I add a little bit of white to take it back down again, but not too much.
I need to plug in my phone.
My phone?
Mine. Mine's on
On the
the
brink of
downslope.
on the brink of not being lawn anymore.
A second, we'll get, that's my palette. My palette camera went down.
Uh-oh. Okay, there you go. So we got that going on.
Did you get a zoom in on this? Because you
Yeah.
can really see the different texture of the two mountains that are to the left that are very matte, unfinished, while the mountain he's working on is rich in texture with greenery.
Ooh. I spotted like 3 big words.
That greenery, that's a good one.
Rich in texture
Rich
with greenery.
with greenery.
And a hint
Put it on
of
the
red
side.
dirt that
On
they're
the
going to
side.
make the shirts with anytime now.
Aloha, everybody. I'm back. Welcome back to my studio. We're up on the north shore of Oahu, Pupukea to be precise. And we're continuing with session 8. I believe this is session 8. We just took a little pause. And we've been working on the mountains. To say hi to Mary Jean back here behind me, trying to keep me on the straight and narrow, and of course the lovely Ann Wood producing this whole thing.
Aloha.
Say hello.
Welcome back.
So we're gonna continue. Remember, all the areas that I'm doing are not done, right? But we took it to another level. Is what we did. And then there are more levels that we can take it to. But before I do that, I wanted to make sure I kind of brought everything up together as much as possible. So these 2 mountains here from the center to the left, they were underpainted flat. And so I have not worked out details for them. So I want to do these first. And then this one as well, that's going to be kind of in the clouds a little bit. And then once all those mountains are done, then I will go back into them, right, and bring them along further again. But I wanted to do that as much as possible together with the rest of them, right, because they're going to have to interact anyway, and your perception of these mountains have to make sense with them together. Now, we don't look at things that analytically every time, but that's what's happening. So as the artist, as you're trying to prepare your image to be appreciated the way they should be, you should keep those in mind, that is what's going on in their brains, right? So you might as well play well within what you know is happening, right? So everything is going to be perceived how they are based on what's next to them, okay? So what's next to them is important. So we will do that. Important to hydrate, so I got my Pellegrino here. They're not paying me to say that. Okay. So remember our mix, we've been using indigo and white, right? Chromium oxide green. And for the warm parts, like the rocky parts of it, was using cadmium red light, a little bit, because that's a very strong color, just a little bit. You don't want it too red. You want it to read red, but without being red, okay? And it's reading red based on what's around it, right? So you don't have to really stress the redness of that color so much. But the fact that it's a different hue than the greens I put on there, even though it's really subtle, it stands out, right? So you have to be taking that into account when you're putting it on there. We have a tendency for new added to go overboard with things, okay? And at some point, you'll get it and you'll back off of it more and more until you understand for yourself where it is that you want it to be, okay? And then you might change from that after a while too. So as painters, right, we're developing all the time, and constantly learning new things. I hope. I mean, that's my favorite thing about painting is that I get a chance to learn new things all the time. Right? I don't want that to end. That's one of the fun parts is you discover a way or more than one way to do whatever it is you wanted to do. And I can only imagine that it would get, kind of boring if I didn't have those challenges, right? Even if you know 3 ways to get there, right? When you discover the 4th way to get there, it's as much thrill as the first time, right? Because it's genuinely an unknown being known. Okay, so there's more to it than just getting the right colors. It's not an endeavor that's just mechanical. Okay, I mean that's important. Okay, because that's a mechanical. It's not an opinion. But once you start getting somewhat proficient at the mechanical part of things, how to mix the color, how you can appreciate the values and the chroma of the color, the temperature, whatnot, then you can have more fun because you can use these things that to work to your advantage. Instead of just accidentally getting it right, you can deliberately get it right? You can push the envelope without compromising the spirit of what you're trying to do. But at the very basic of all of these things, you gotta improve your skill set, right? You gotta know as many things as you can to be used as your tools. You need the right tools, and you gotta know when to use them at the right time. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do here. Not only am I sharing with you how I do it, all right, but I'm also encouraging you to not get stuck on just the way how I do it. All right, that how I do it should just help you be in the neighborhood of where you want to be. Now, if you want to do it the way I do it, that's fine. But I would hope that at some point you will develop your own and give yourself a chance to come through. Okay. Otherwise, people will look at your work and they'll think of me, right? Which is good for me, but not good for you. Okay. So yeah, you don't want to remain anonymous if you paint like somebody else that somebody gets reminded of by looking at your work. So I'm giving you basic stuff, but if you want more than basic stuff and you got questions that are not being addressed, just ask your questions to Anne, and she's managing all the questions. And they'll get to me and I'll answer them either in real time or later on, okay?
All right, awesome.
Okay, so are we doing these mountains here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now what I want to do is shift away from these the greens and the browns that are here, and they were, those are warm colors to try and stress the point that they're closest to the viewer, right? Other than its composition, but to help it along. Now, I want to put some distance between this mountain and this mountain, okay? So I'm going to get away from the warmer colors, and I'm going to go lean more towards the cooler colors, and that will help me push that mountain back. All right, and your cooler colors are blue, right? Or blue-green that leans on the blue side of the green, right? So those are what we need to do. And we will lower the value as well. So, from here to here it got lighter, all right? But chroma-wise, they're close. They're both bright still, okay? So that's what we'll do.
So you're mixing anything new in your palette?
Yes, I am gonna mix the old batch, which is the indigo and the white.
Hey, I noticed you got some dark mixed up in your white over there. Is that okay?
Where what?
On your left, you got that white has all that mix around it.
What are we talking about?
Right in here.
Oh,
It's messy.
here. What about it now?
That's okay?
This?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'll get messy, but it's okay. If I wanted pure white, I'm not gonna dip in this area. I'm gonna go to
Other side.
right where it's clean.
Is this landmass that's right under the moon that you're going to start on?
This one.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that going to have moonlight on it, or is that not the right angle of the moonlight that's coming down on the mountains?
Okay.
Did that make sense?
Um,
What
Yeah, well, it's not. What's being lit is the other side of all of these mountains, right? Because the moon is the farthest away, right?
The moon? Okay, go ahead.
Right. So
Yes.
everything is being lit from this direction, not this.
Right, okay, got it.
Right?
Got
Because it's way back. It's not really just above it.
It's
it,
way behind it.
it appears above it, but it's not only above, but way, 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 way back. So everything that is, everything here is being backlit. But we are flexing our muscles a little bit, right? And we're saying, oh, okay, the light is bouncing all around. So how this guy is lit is how light is bouncing from the back of this mountain back at that, right? And same here. Any light on here is bouncing light coming from the artist's direction, right? The brightness of it, you would have to go on the other side of the mountain and look this direction, and then you'll see it lit more by the moon.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
All right. That's a good question.
Moving on. Let's go.
So again, all of what I'm going to do is the backlighting, just like how we did the rocks, right? How we did the wave. Everything is tied together by that technique of just lighting up the back side. Okay, and then we add a little blue. I'm adding some cobalt blue to the mix. Okay, it's going to raise the chroma a little bit, so we're going to add some white to lower it and
So we
lighten it.
had indigo, but now we're adding cobalt.
Yeah, and I'm doing more of that because the indigo is kind of purplish, right? And so I wanted to get away from the purple because the purple has red, which is a warm color, and lean more towards the blue. But the cobalt blue is a good blue to use. You could experiment with other blues if you wish. Okay, and we will see how this guy affects it. It's kind of a high chroma. All right, so we will lower that chroma with some white. Remember, the chroma is like a volume control, right? It makes the color loud, right? If it's high. Okay, that's a little bit better. But now, not only do we want to make it kind of blue, let's give it a little bit of green. Blue-green, right? Okay.
So you're creating texture and detail?
Yeah. The detail is what you would see of the mountain during the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just because it's not being lit doesn't mean those details went away, right? You just can't see them very well,
Right.
right? So I'm adding that back on as it might appear when it's illuminated from the back, and that lightens this whole mountain up a little bit more, yeah? Okay. Now let's make it a little bit darker over here. Very subtle. Very subtle. Okay. As we get a little bit closer to here, we can stress the details a little bit more, just for the aesthetics of it. Okay. You're not really departing from how it might look, but you're gonna push a little bit and make it a little bit more to a point where you can appreciate some detail, but not to the point where it's grabbing your attention and won't let go of it. Like so. There you go. Still very subtle. Huh. And you continue again. You just try to imagine all the different ways that terrain can look like. Again, if you got references of the mountains in Hawaii, that'll come in very, very handy to practice on smaller scale. Don't practice on big paintings. That way you can get your feedback faster, right? Because you're gonna advance your painting faster on a smaller canvas, right? If you work on a big guy like this, it'll take you a while to finish it, and then that's the only time you're gonna know whether the thing worked or not. So it seems like a waste to me. So practice on smaller canvases if you can. Just adding some chromium green. And I'm just leaving parts of what I painted previously, just leave it alone. Try to preserve your darks. Always try to do that. As I'm doing this, the division between this mountain and this mountain here gets further defined, yeah? Because it was close earlier, but as I'm doing this lighter area here, you can tell where this one ends and where the other one begins. But even if it's still blurry, that's still okay, right? That helps the effect of things not being defined in a sharp way, right? It's kind of like in a soft way. There's a division there, and that's good enough. Because remember, it's a moonlight, right? Things don't look sharp, right? They're all subtle, so you can still have your division and the distinction between one mass and another, but do it in a subtle way, and you won't compromise the effects that you're trying to make. Anything that is sharp contrast will not help you. And relatively speaking, the sharp things will attract attention, right? So if you're gonna have them anywhere, you would have it on your focal point because that's where you want your attention, right? And by virtue of the fact you want it here, you don't want it everywhere because if you put it everywhere, it will diminish the impact of your focal point because you just want to reserve that for the focal point and nothing else, yeah? There you go. And we add some kind of a texture, some planes in there. And gradually ease it down into where it's getting misty, right? And then things are kind of jumbled together. That's all that is good. It just makes everything softer. I added some more cobalt blue. Okay, your strokes are short, they're kind of roundish, trying to emulate the shape of trees, the canopy of the trees. So okay, the brush is running out of paint, which is good.
Why is that good?
Because as you're going into the mist, you don't want a lot of paint because it's just gonna cover it. Instead of lightly graze over it and put like a scumbling effect, yeah. You're applying paint to it, but you're not covering it solidly, right? You're allowing the paint underneath to show through. Okay, so now we got this guy to go, and I'll go even bluer. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Okay, fine.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I want to inspect it. One
Oh.
moment, please.
Okay, un momento.
Oh, wow. Wow. I just stepped outside for, what was that, 3 minutes, and you did a whole section. Good job.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
This one,
Huh?
we're going here.
Yeah, we're going here.
We're going here. So I'm really watching it come to life.
Uh-huh.
In the morning with coffee.
Wow.
I know, it's only 11 o'clock. I've done more today than my kids will do all day.
Uh-huh.
Actually, Jack's in a baseball tournament this week. He will be busy and fatigued.
Uh-huh.
And what with that Gatorade? And those drinks, I don't know.
He can't drink those. And I especially wouldn't say live on film I was feeding him Bang or something really bad for a child. That would not be good.
What was it? Oh, Red Bull. I was into those for a while.
Why?
I don't know, for energy to stay awake. I mean, this is a long time ago,
Oh,
not recent times.
okay. Okay, that chroma is about the same, right? And I want it a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter, so I'm gonna add a little white to it. And we got it lighter. And it's still subtle. Tell me if you're gonna drop anything.
Okay. So the real thing is it's the shock value. It's not that I drop stuff. It's that you guys don't like to listen to it being dropped. It startles you.
What?
Painting should be in a Zen moment.
Well, then absolutely should not be
where's
having
the
me.
spiritual Zen music?
My stereo is still broken.
No, you're not.
I started GoFundMe.
I might be able
Please
to
help
find.
Ann and Mary Jean.
I might be able to find you a CD player at the studio. I feel like I've seen a few of those little oldies but goodies in there.
Well, mine's a whole setup where it goes up to those speakers up there. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's old school.
But at the time, it was the hip, modern way.
Of course. There we go. And leave some of the darks. Those are your shadows. So it's the combination of those darks and the lights you're putting on here is what it is that will give it the illusion of that texture. Okay. And if the details you're adding on here are not real sharp, that's good, right? Because you don't want a lot of attention to this mountain, right? You just don't want to make it look like it got neglected. But you don't want it to stand out.
So is it, as you would say, a pip?
It's a pip.
It's a pip.
It's doing its best
It's a pip.
to make Gladys look good,
Right.
okay? So yeah, you gotta know, stay your lane, do your job, it'll work out. Okay, so not a lot of defined details, just general details. But already I'm thinking that the line here that separates or that defines the mountains and it's separated from the clouds is too harsh. And remember that those edges, right, hard edges attract attention. All right, so knowing that, this guy here is not in our favor.
Okay, so do you want to pull clouds down over it?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
not necessarily, but we want to blur this line.
Blur the line.
Blur the line and, you know, some of the details as well, but we'll blur the line first. Okay?
Are we going there now?
We're going there now.
We're blurring the line. Blurring the line, not crossing the line, blurring the line.
Yes. And you don't want to mix that up.
Nope.
That adds another 20 minutes to what you got to do. softening that edge. Okay. Okay, and how about we continue here?
Softening the edge.
Softening the edge. Get rid of that hard edge that's always screaming for attention. In fact, we're just like making a whole nother mountain back there.
Have you ever been to Molokai?
I have not. Have you?
No, but I hear the mountain ranges are like
Yeah.
really amazing.
Yeah.
Like they just dive right into the ocean.
Yes, I heard that. Well, I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and created another mountain back here.
Mini pit.
Well, there's more than one pit, right?
It's a pipsqueak.
Good one, Ann. Oh, Ann made it funny. A pip squeak. It wasn't planned, it just popped in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so now that that's done, let's further emphasize some of these areas here. There you go. Okay. There we have it. And now let's see if we can make this guy a little brighter. It's really bright. I added some phthalo green to the mix and white to define some more areas on the mountain. So taking it away from looking really flat to having some texture, some volume to it, right? And only on certain parts, right, that I think would be good to illuminate and highlight, right? But you don't want to spread it everywhere, because to do it in this area is more dramatic, and certainly that's a good thing, yeah. So you want that drama on your canvas, even though it's in a subtle way, it's still there, and that will make the painting interesting. But you don't want to make it more interesting than your focal point, right? So there's a lot of balancing acts that go on, and the more you paint, the better you'll get at it. That's guaranteed, because when you're painting, you're gonna be reminded of things that you know. And you're going to be reminded to, oh yeah, I did that before and it didn't work out, so you can avoid it next time, right? And then at some point, those same issues, you won't even think about them anymore, because you'll just automatically do the right thing, because you've basically gone over a lot of the mistakes, if you're anything like me. A lot of mistakes in the beginning, and then they got fewer and fewer the more I worked. Okay, so it's a little, this area here just got brighter than here, right? So if I made that whole thing bright, it won't be interesting, right? But and plus I am reserving the areas for some highlighting from the moon instead of the reflected light, right? So the mountain is being lit by reflected light, not from direct moonlight, right? It's bouncing off somewhere and hitting that side, and that's the part I'm painting. Now later on, I'm going to paint the parts that are getting hit by the moonlight directly. Okay, so those are the basic three parts, right? You got your shadow painted in, then you got your backlight, and then you got the highlights, right? And that adds to the volume of whatever it is you're trying to paint. That is three-dimensional. Again, this is the part of the mountain that is getting lit because of the moonlight bouncing off the other side of this mountain. Okay, like so. And we can do the same thing here. Going back to this area here. Oh, you know what? Let's do the this landmass and trees over here. The very first part that I did. I'm gonna go back over it and then kind of light it up a little bit where the moonlight is hitting it. All right, we'll do that. Really bright. It's not too bad. We can make it a little bit lighter. and the mix it's got blue in it. I got and some phthalo green that's lightened up, right? And I'm mixing it right into the light areas of my mix over here. So I like doing that so that they're all within that same family of colors. Yeah. Okay, and continue. Again, don't cover your shadows. You can always add more of this later, right? Don't overdo it. And and that's not being timid so much as you're being careful, because you can afford to be careful. There's no downside to it, but if you overdo something and then you have to fix it, I can assure you that then that becomes a technical endeavor, right? You want to have few of those, if any. It's just much better to just keep on creeping up to where it is that you need to be, a little bit slower, and then when you feel like it's enough, you stop. Okay, it's a little brighter. Because when we left it earlier, it wasn't done, right? I just wanted to get the rest of these guys in, and which I did. So now I can go back in here and go, you know what, I want to bring that along further up. Okay, then you do that. And like I said, you're going to have time to do that, and this is the time to do that now. Later on, I'll leave this behind and move on, and then I can also come back to it later and say, oh, you know what, looked good at the time, but now I need more of it. And that's fine too, we just add some more. Here, I'm going to emphasize a little bit of the brightness hitting this area here. And again, it's defining the edge of that other landmass on the foreground, middle ground, I mean. And you can repeat that as many times as you like in order to kind of identify certain planes where things are progressively receding back, okay? Here's a good example too. That area thing that we addressed this way to define this area to the right of it, we can do the same thing here, okay? And in fact, let's do that. Again, there's hardly any paint on the brush. So there are strokes where you're depositing a lot of paint and then it kind of skips a little bit. That's good, that's a good effect, right? The parts that it skips are like the shadow, right? Again, leave some of the darks behind, and that represents the shadows, not getting hit by enough moonlight, bouncing or otherwise, in order to light it up. Okay, so we define that area as well. We're doing many levels, all right? Same mix. Now I'm gonna define this top edge here. Again, the phthalo green. There you go. So again, when the stroke is skipping, that's not necessarily bad, right? Because you're not really painting this area to cover it. You're just laying down some strokes. So that's a natural thing that the brush will do when it's losing paint. And when, depending on the pressure you put on it, you'll hit upon an area of the brush that wasn't used up because you didn't press hard enough earlier. And now you are, because you're running out of paint. But it gives you that nice effect that when you push harder, there's more paint. Like, it's like the toothpaste principle, right? You squeeze, you can always get a little bit more out of there, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm pressing a little bit harder on the brush and getting closer to the heel of the brush, and that's where there's some paint there. And then I back off of it, and then I get back to the part of the brush that doesn't have a lot of paint on there. And the more you paint, the more you'll see what I mean, okay? It's hard to explain in words without you doing it in person. But the more you're working with your brush, you know what it can and cannot do depending on the kind of pressure you apply, right? So not everything is the same pressure, right? When you're doing little tiny marks that you want to put on there, obviously you're just going to use the very tip. And then for other areas, then you want to push a little bit more so you get more brush contact with the canvas, right? Again, most of this stuff, if not all of it, will become evident the more you paint. No way around that. Okay, so it's getting lit nicely. There you go. And how about here? Sure, why not?
I say it's okay.
Why not, right? It's getting hit by the moonlight, so it's kind of bluish green. Again, you don't want to do too much. But you can't neglect parts of it. It's not as if the moonlight will stop. It'll just keep going. There you go. And now, what we can do is we can work on this area of this mountain, now that we've got that thing defined. Okay? And that was done with the chromium oxide green. So we'll put that into the mix again. And we got our indigo to darken everything up a little bit more because we were using the light areas. Okay. Now let's see what we got here. Okay, it's a little brighter. Okay, which is good because we're trying to paint the parts that's getting hit by the moonlight. Subtle, very subtle. nothing will really help you more than just practice. Okay? There's only so many mistakes, so after a while, you won't even make hardly any at all.
Really?
Yep. If you're trying to remember what you did wrong, right? And after a while, you won't make that mistake anymore. Just like everything else you know in life, right? Do it once, oh, never gonna do that again.
How's the commentary? Any questions?
I'm trying to get on there.
Oh,
I can't look at it.
what?
My phone is a camera.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't have access to anything. I just sit here and be quiet.
You don't have to be quiet.
Well, you paint the ocean. Yesterday I went into the real ocean.
And?
It was delightful.
Uh-huh.
I have a floaty club.
Uh-huh.
We all have floats in different colors.
Uh-huh.
They're like hammocks. So they blow up at one end for your head and one end like for your legs. And you just put air in the two ends and then it's like a little mesh hammock. And you sit in the ocean like this. Float around.
Fun.
It's so fun.
Uh-huh. Until a shark gets there.
No. Okay, do not say that out loud now. There's no sharks at this beach.
Where is this?
Secret beach?
It's called Secret Beach.
Is it connected to the ocean?
Yes, but there's a big wall around
There's a sign
it.
says no sharks allowed.
Well, yeah,
Especially when I'm there.
there's a wall and it's very cool. It's the fish pond.
The fish pond.
The fish pond, and it's in front of my best good friends. That would be Shelly and Barack, their house.
As
Obama's.
in Obama's. It's
Yeah.
in front of the Obama's house.
One of the Obama's houses.
That's right, it's a secret.
It's a stretch of beach in Waimanalo. It's really clear, and the water's really calm.
That's a beautiful beach
It's
over there.
really something. And then when you're laying in the hammock, you're laying there looking up at these said mountains.
Uh-huh.
Which
Okay,
I
see,
believe-
we're getting it more and more illuminated, yeah?
Getting there.
Thanks.
Getting there.
And the more contrast that we put on here with the green, the more you can appreciate the rock or dirt area, the brown area, right? Because now there's more contrast. Again, the brush is skipping paint. Perfect. That's exactly the effect I want. Sometimes, I'll touch the canvas with it and nothing is applied on there. And I just kind of spin the brush a little bit and get to the other side of it where there's more paint. So, while I'm doing this, I'm actually spinning the brush as well, yeah? To get to the other parts of the brush where there's paint there that I hadn't used up yet.
So when this piece, when you're done working on this session for today, what will be your next work plan? If you don't have the lineup of the giclées, which I see.
Well, I gotta do
you
Anne's
got all
5x7s
Yeah.
because I want her to stop.
I'm annoying Roy.
Oh, I was.
It's reminding, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm reminding Roy to paint. I got a big list over there of pieces.
Oh, so he has to go to the list.
Yeah. But there's a lot of 5x7s on the list, and a couple. Every gallery has their wish list, and we're working on Christie's big wish right now.
Yep.
For the Bill Mack Gallery in Caesar's Palace. I can't wait to visit there.
Yeah, me too. I was just gonna say.
That's our first stop.
We should visit Maui first and look at that gallery.
That's true.
Right?
We
Well,
haven't
there's
been over
direct
there.
flights right from Maui to Las Vegas, so
Oh, double.
just keep going.
Phew.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
Maui to Vegas. I've done that before. Yeah.
Free.
Well, that was one time when I had to go to Vegas for something, but the cheapest flight was through Maui.
So I flew to Maui for a minute and then went on. Like I didn't stay, but there is direct flights from Maui to Vegas.
I see.
Yeah.
Is there somebody calling? Oh, this is my phone. Yeah. Oh.
Is this on the live? Him on the phone?
Do what?
We're still on live?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think so.
but you're on the phone on the live.
Yeah. Well, he's just reading the phone.
Oh.
We'll look at the palette.
Uh-huh.
We can go and see the.
Uh-huh.
We can see all the pieces that are on his drying racks over there.
Uh-huh.
This is really cool.
Uh-huh.
Those are 10 by 20s available if they're finished. Got a couple 5 by 7s. A nice 12 by 16 moonlight is over there. One day we'll do a studio tour. This studio was designed by Roy's dad.
Hmm. Okay. We will continue the details.
I love the details.
That's where the devil is, I heard.
Well, it should be because I don't read them. I don't read the details. I don't read the fine print. I skim.
That's exactly what they want you to do.
And will sign anything.
That's right.
Do you read all the details when you have to update your phone and it says agree? Or do you just go right to agree?
Yeah, I spend 5 hours reading all the fine print.
Yeah, I go right to agree. I'm agreeing to whatever they're going to do to make my phone work faster. And yes, I say yes. I agree.
Yeah, that's why that's a good example of technically they put it on there, but they don't really expect anybody to read everything. Never mind read it, but do you understand it?
That would be a negative.
Yeah. So why would you even read it if you're not going to understand it anyway? Exactly. Okay. That's nice.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
It's good when you're pleased with yourself.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Hard line. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not touching it.
Soft.
Soft.
That mocking tone does not help you.
I just can't wait to see you do this part.
Which part? Oh, that?
I'm really
Yeah.
itching for that part to be done.
Okay. All right. We'll get that done.
I like the stool. Oh, this is a good stool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wasn't there one more of these? Oh, there's one over there in the kitchen. Maybe you should wear a blue shirt to go with the painting.
See, that's the difference between Mary Jean and Anne.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
I told him, don't wear the same color as the shirt. The painting, you blend in.
Oh, I want them to wear the same colors.
Okay.
Did you get a new one?
No,
Oh.
it's the same. Plug it in so I can get
Are you losing power?
It slows it down. But I was getting slow on the connection.
Yeah, oh, it'd be so exciting to go to Caesar's Palace at Maui. Maui and Caesar's Palace. Maui and Caesar's Palace. In
Road
that
trip.
order.
It's a road trip.
That would be. Okay. So now I'm gonna do
Yay.
this mountain up here.
At the
a
top,
bit.
top?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you gonna stand or are you gonna
No.
lower?
I'm a lower. Cause and effect.
That's right.
Because I'm gonna put the effect on it.
Grateful for the adjustable easel. And where was that easel from?
Yes.
Oh! You missed that part of our discussion last week.
Ruiz built it while he was resting.
Wow.
It's like almost, I think it's a little bit over 40 years old. That's why with all the easels out there, it's my good luck easel. He also built this,
What's that called?
the Tabora.
Tabouret.
What does that word mean?
It's French.
Oh, it's
Table.
French. It's a French word. Tabouret.
What?
What does a regular tabouret look like?
I don't know. I've never used a regular Tabora.
Only the homemade built one?
Yes.
Okay. Is this one of those? Is this a tabouret as well?
We made it one. They built it as a TV stand, and I repurposed it.
I love the repurpose.
I knew you would love it. I
love
knew you would
that.
love it.
I love that. Oh my
I knew
god.
you would.
Yeah, no, that is the way to go. It's like you can look at something and say, that looks good as that, but what would it look like if I make it as I want?
I bet you didn't think of this.
Right? You know, I need some legs to build onto a dresser.
What?
I need to, well, I was working on a piece and it, well, let me back up. I got 2 free pieces from a lady, and upon the drive home, one of them, the legs, just the bottom of it, like crumbled in the car. So I had to cut off the bottom of the dresser. And now it has no legs. So the legs that
You
were
just
on
cut
it,
off the legs.
yeah, I cut off the, yeah. Well, yeah, it was legs, but they were more like long pieces that were the bottom of it that made the legs. They just crumbled, so I ripped it all off.
Crumbled? What are
Crumbled.
they made
It
of?
was press board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I got off as much as I could, and then I got someone to help saw off the rest.
Uh-huh.
So now it's a clean slate, but I need to put legs on it.
I see.
And City Mill doesn't sell them.
Legs?
Yeah.
Well, City Mill, come on.
Well, they used to. And they actually had them on the sign, furniture legs.
Uh-huh.
And
And
then I went down that aisle and they said, "Where's the furniture legs?" I'm like, "Oh, we don't have them anymore." I said,
we just have the sign.
"You might want to take it off the sign."
No, we like the sign.
So anyway, I have to just go explore Lowe's and Depot or order them online.
Yes.
Anyway, it's a new adventure for me because I haven't put legs on furniture. So this is a new area. But
It's pretty good.
I'm willing to work on it. It's a piece in production.
Okay, so we're using a really grayed out version of these colors here, right? Just so that we can kind of sort of blend this mountain into the clouds, the low-lying clouds. And for it to be nondescript is good, right? Because you don't want it to stand out, right? This is also one of the pips. There we go. Hmm. Like so. Okay, nondescript is good. That will help the effect. Okay.
A lot of mountain work today.
That's
a lot of
fun.
mountain climbing.
Mountains.
Mountains.
The
Move mountains.
leaves is okay. Mountains. What are you gonna do, right? Okay. So
Taking a step back. You're gonna roll back in your chair and have a look at it.
no. A squint,
A squint. Oh, the squint test.
right? You put your eyelashes together, it filters out most of the light, so it blurs it as if you're looking at it from a distance.
We used to do the squint test when we did Christmas lights on the tree.
That'll work there
Yeah.
too.
So you would do that, make sure like, is there any spots missing?
That's
Then you
right.
adjust the lights.
That's right.
Squint test.
That's right. Saves you the trip. You don't have to go walk back and forth. Or people think you're Clint Eastwood.
Okay, what is our time looking like?
Well, we've been an hour and 10 minutes, so we can, are you done for today? We'll resume again tomorrow.
Good.
Good time to stop.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so basically we got all the bouncing light on the mountains registered on there, and tomorrow we can start working on the parts that gets hit by the moonlight. So this is like the alley-oop. You just want to alley-oop it. You don't want to put the light effects of the moon on it just yet until you set up the back part. Kind of like with the rocks, we did the reflected light first. Just like the surf here, we did the reflected light first. So you can see a pattern of how we're trying to set it up, right? And the last thing we do is if we did everything correctly, is we will do the direct hit of the light. Like so.
Awesome.
All right, are we out?
Yep.
We done? We're not rolling anymore? Or
We're
we still out?
rolling.
We still
You
rolling?
can say aloha.
All right, we can say goodbye. Okay, on behalf of Mary Jean and Ann, Roy Tabora here, signing off for today. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. After we make fun of the question, we will answer it. We will answer it in the most sincere way. All right, but that adds to the atmosphere around here. No, I'm just kidding. No, not about the we'll make fun of it part, but
Yeah, that one. That
that
we're not
part
kidding
is
about
true.
that. That's true.
that's true. At least we're honest, right? You got to give us points for that. Is there points for that?
Reserve your order today.
Oh. Again, but all seriousness aside, just let me know if you got any questions, and that will help you with your work. You can see one of the better developments is this area right here, which was all kind of gray, misty gray, right? And it was too solid, but what we did was we made it appear as though you can still see the mountains and all the land, but you're seeing it through a veil of mist. That is a title, right?
I like it. I was just gonna say. I think we got it.
We've used that before.
Really? Not on
Through a
a.
veil of mist? Oh, yes.
That's a nice choice.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Through a veil of mist is a title now.
That's a really nice title.
It is a very nice title. And a nice painting to go with it.